So day 3 of the reveals or Macht. Maybe I should practice my pronunciation of that. I don't quite have it down, but it's day 3, the third day. It's funny because there's on my mind. I take a couple minutes to think about what I want to talk about, and then as soon as I hit the button, my mind starts racing to a blank. But so I'll just start on a couple of topics. One of the things, it's the third day, and it's amazing to me I don't know too much about it. I've just heard people mention it in passing, so I don't really know what it means. But it's the term muscle memory, and the reason I mention that is I'm 3 days in, and I've been lifting, but I haven't been pushing myself. I just want to kind of get my body used to the exercises of lifting weights. I don't want to overdo it. I want to give myself at least a weekend, maybe a little bit longer, before I really start pushing myself. But it's just amazing. 3 days in, this muscle memory. I haven't been to a gym regularly in at least 10 years. I've had a few sporadic bursts of a few days here or there, probably nothing more than a week or two at most over the last 10 years. And there's years in between those sporadic bursts. However, 3 days into it, already my muscles are coming back. And I'm seeing my triceps bulge the way that they did when I was working out at a peak level, working out with a poor method, but at a peak level, just kind of that tone, but not building or not creating anything new, just kind of toning everything. But already I can see my triceps, my biceps, my chest. I can feel my abs coming back, and that's just 3 days, and it's just incredible. The other thing I've never really did is when I worked out, I never incorporated diet into working out. I trained for marathons and wondered why running 10, 15, 18, 26.2 miles, why was I still fat? And I wasn't grotesquely fat, but I always had quite a bit of fat on top of my muscle. And it really, I believe at this point that it just came down to eating. I can't run 10 miles and then go pig out on a supersized value meal somewhere. Supersized and value. Anyway, so it's going to be interesting to see what incorporating a strong diet does. The other thing that's interesting is once I get into monitoring my calories and monitoring my intake, there's a couple changes that occur. One, I'm not hungry. When I eat whatever I want, when I'm pigging out all the time, I'm constantly hungry, and I wouldn't put it past me to say I would put down 6, 7, 8, maybe even 10,000 calories a day at sometimes. And in the last couple days, I've barely crossed the threshold of 1,000 calories in some cases. Maybe 13 or 1,400 calorie maximum. But if that, actually yesterday I hit almost 1,400, and that's because I had 4 pretty heavy beers. And that's something else I wanted to talk about. If I'm really trying to will myself to be powerful, how much do these little vices affect me? And I say that because last night something was triggered in my brain. Somebody mentioned grilling out today, and immediately in my brain that meant standing in front of the grill holding a beer. And the more I thought about that, the more beer sounded great. And when I got home, I started drinking beers. And I also have an issue when I do drink. I'm a hard drinker, very hard drinker. I don't drink daily. I've been in that situation before in my 20s, actually to the point where I screamed to God one time to take the craving of alcohol away from me, and he did. That's a whole other story. But when I start drinking, generally I drink really hard, and I don't stop until I go to sleep. And weird and bad things happen, and I wake up the next day and with just the heaviest depression I can imagine. It carries throughout the day, and maybe after sleeping, maybe a little bit into the next day. Now, yesterday, I did drink. Actually, I probably drank 3.5 because I remember pouring the last beer out, and it may have even been closer to full. Really, it was just. However, what I want to talk about is that when I came into the gym today, I definitely wasn't feeling it, and the reason being was because I took it out of me last night. I mean, it's just that simple. The other thing I know I need to quit is coffee. One of my favorite things is waking up in the morning and being in that dreary grogginess of haze that the morning sometimes presents, and just sitting in relaxed silence and sipping on that coffee and feeling my motors starting to come around, the energy starting to build in my body. It's a wonderful feeling, and I don't want to make light of that. But after that, it creates an edginess, a nervousness, an anxiousness that lingers throughout the day. And if I really want to be powerful, how can I incorporate that feeling into my day? And the answer is I can't. So I need to be aware of those vices. There may be other vices that come up, but those are the two big vices. If I'm going to have a beer, I have to realize how much it's going to take out of me the next day, and weigh, is it worth it? I've just finished the gym, and instead of feeling that energy, that goodness, short on breath, shaky, I've got heavy eyebrows, and I don't feel good about it. So, if I want to take a year and will myself into power, speaking to myself now and not lying to myself, I have to eliminate these vices. Now, if I want to have a coffee, one given day as kind of a bonus or a treat, I don't see anything wrong with that. And that's not me lying to myself. That's me treating myself to that element of, I'm not removing something. I'm not. How do I put it? Sometimes when I eliminate something, if I say I can't have chocolate, which I do like chocolate, then that just creates that whole energy of, I want chocolate. I want what I can't have. It's kind of an innate desire. So if I tell myself I can't have coffee, I'm gonna go through every day thinking, screw it, I want coffee. It's part of me, and it never used to be part of me. Probably within the last 6 or 7 years, I became a regular morning coffee drinker, and I drink really strong coffee too. I do a cold brew, and probably cold brew it 10 times more than I should, as far as the amount of coffee I put in, or the same way when I make hot coffee, I make it very strong because I enjoy that rush. Espresso is beautiful. So maybe that's something innate in me. Maybe that's something that is part of my nature to overdo vices, to push vices. So at any rate, I'm not taking away coffee, nor am I taking away beer, or whiskey. Whiskey's real dangerous. I'm just making myself aware of that consequence as far as the progress that I go. And if it's there and it's a day that calls for something like that, I won't not let myself have it. But I think that being under this sense, I kind of assume, or I kind of think or feel or believe, or that these desires will discipline themselves. But definitely weighed me down quite a bit today, and that's for sure. So tomorrow I'll wake up, and I may still enjoy that calm silence and wake myself up in a different way. Whether that be listening to something motivational, or reading something, or and try to reestablish that energy in a healthier, more controlled way, so that I can move forward throughout the day without the coffee jitters. Because coffee jitters suck, they really do, and that's just the plain and simple of it. I don't need this energy. I don't want this energy. It doesn't benefit me in any way. I've told myself, oh, it makes my runs easier. I think that's bullshit. But that's another thing that's been really cool. Oh yeah, you know what else I was thinking? I think I really need to stop using cuss words and things like that, because I notice that when I hear someone else using those cuss words, it makes me think less of them. So if I want to be a powerful person, that's something else I have to eliminate. So I'm going to be aware of that. I'm going to speak more concisely, more precisely, and eliminate anything that makes me look weaker. And using those words, those sentiments, will definitely make me weaker. So these are all bits and pieces of things that I'm working on. It's day 3. It's been a wonderful 3 days. Tomorrow, this is actually the end of a vacation. Went back home for a little while, and it was kind of nice actually randomly to be starting all this during Lent. I was raised Catholic, so I'm aware of what Lent is, but I don't think I've ever done anything for Lent. But it's just kind of a nice mental tool to know that I'm starting in Lent. I'm starting in spring. Spring is coming. Spring is an awesome time to start a new project. As the days get longer, the sun gets longer, the clothes become less, and all those elements. So it's a great timing for what I'm doing as well. So I'm thankful for that. This one's kind of turned into a random collage of words and thoughts, which is good. That's what this is meant to be. It's something for me to reflect on. Also, as I speak these things, I'm speaking to myself, so I'm strengthening things that I'm talking about internally. So it's all good. But that's day 3.